Hello, this is High Templar with a new episode of my Total War Warhammer The Realm of the Wood Elves news. And there was a campaign Let's Play available on Total War Warhammer official YouTube channel. And you can see it. And I've made about 100 screenshots from this very campaign, recording all the stats, all the skills, on the abilities, and I will talk about them. And I will talk about what I think about the strategy for them and some of very interesting options that we have here. So, without further ado, if you are starting as Orion, you will have this ability, King God of Athel Loren, giving you upkeep and recruitment cost minus 15% of Wild Riders, leadership plus 10. We already knew that, all of that. And enables unique Wild Hunt event. So we won't be able to get Wild Hunt event on Durthu, and that's slightly sad. But let's just dive into it. And this map looks truly beautiful, and there will be some changes to the map, like, for example, there will be a pathway to the vaults. So you will be able to go through the eastern mountains to the vaults, to the Karakizor. But let's just see what exactly was available for us in this Let's Play. So the Athel Loren is actually here divided to 5 regions. However, only 4 are normal regions. The center one is Oak of the Ages, and it's special. There is only a single building there, and I will show that sometime later. And this is the pathway that I told you about to the east. And this is the King Glade. This is where the Orion starts. Orion himself, this is the faction summary. As you can see, we can recruit some Spellslingers, Waystalkers and Branchwraith. And we have Amber, Income, Treasury, pretty much normal stuff. But there is more to it, quite obviously. The Orion himself, we see all the stats. So he only has 30 armor, but that can change, and that can change like really greatly. I will show you how. His leadership starts 100, he has a speed of 69, which is amazing speed. He's on foot, he's a hero, he's like almost like collect speed. His melee attack is magical, 65, his defense is 30, so nothing special. However, his weapon strength are 545 armor piercing, so this is pretty amazing. And the charge bonus of 65 is also amazing, and he also have ammunition with only 100 range, only 13 ammo, but you know, magical, and 161 armor piercing damage missiles. That's not great actually. I wouldn't say that's very much. This is like basically a quarter of your bolt throwers. They have more ammo, more range, and they have similar missile damage. So slightly underwhelming, slightly disappointing, I would say. Okay, so this guy already have several skills. We will start with the King of the Wood, but here we have some of the elf specific skills, traits actually. So evasion chance in the ward roots, and ward roots are working the same as the underways, the same as the the beastman paths, so pretty much as we expected. And the ambush chance here and the wolf evasion chance for the without a sound is significantly increased. Then we have King of the Woods actually, which is very interesting indeed, because it's giving us plus 8% of speed to all elven units, and this is not nothing, this is actually quite decent. So yeah, we also have some public order from the aggressor and some income from sacking settlements. We also have Crown of Command. So yeah, that guy is unbreakable. And let's actually have a sneak peek into the skills of the Orion himself. Here we have a quick quick sneak peek into one of the quest items, and this is this one actually, because this guy was scrolling and that was split second screen. So the Cloak of Isha is actually giving +5 melee defense, +10% magic, which is not that great. Enemy hero action success chance -5, which is very nice, and this reduction to vampire corruption, also very nice. But here is where it shines. We have a constant self. It is disabled if their hit points are greater than 20%, but if your hit points are below 20%, you are actually +44% damage resistance. So this is pretty nice indeed. It's basically giving you additional 10% of health, and it allows you to keep your character basically alive in the critical situation. So this is nice. Then we have your skill tree that will actually strengthen the range attacks of the Orion himself. So here we have some reduction of the reload time, and this must start. You have to start with this bombardment spell to unlock it. But as you can see, this tree is not very long. He has lots of those trees, but they are not very long. Only 4 and 5, so this is like a single group that you would have in any other lord, like Greenskins. You would have like first 4, and then you have another 4. And this guy has both Prey of Anat and Deadly Onslaught just after a few skill points. So this is something very important to notice. Normally for Deadly Onslaught, you would have to invest a lot of skill points into that guy. So yeah. And then we have Piercing Shots, which is increasing the missile damage, but I have a feeling that this is non-armor piercing missile damage, so this is not so great. And then we have Bottomless Quiver, which is actually pretty good, because even on the first one, even on the first level, it is giving +10% ammo. I would expect +50 on the third one, so that is quite actually big one. First one is only giving you +1 ammo from 13 to 14, but the last one would give you pretty substantial bonus. And then we have a speed bonus, which is always very, very nice indeed, especially for this guy who already have a speed of 75. I mean, 65 with this 5% bonus, it's 75 and then more and more. So, very nice indeed, very fast moving range hero who can actually fight pretty well and has some interesting abilities. Finally, you can go into this ability, which is a Hex, and is actually reducing missile resistance on the enemy up to the range of 150, and that's always nice to see with the elf. Then we have Hounds of Orion, which is Vortex spell, and from the description it would seem that this is pretty similar as the Golden Hounds of Gehenna, and this is very nice to see, because spell is amazing. Even if they are recycling the actual animation, the animation for the Golden Hounds is amazing, and this is not the spell that is commonly used. Then we have your normal hit point bonus, armor bonus. However, mind you, this armor bonus is giving +10 armor on the first level. That means on the last level it's giving either +40 or +50. And that is quite significant, because you are getting from 30 to almost 80. So yeah, it's big. Then we have something very, very nice indeed. Normally, if you would be buffing your melee lord, you would be getting like +2 melee attack and then +5 and then +9. With this guy, we are having on the first level +5 to both defense and attack. This is amazing. With his attack and defense, and with his weapon strength and armor piercing, he would be amazing melee fighter, and his range ability I would use as utility really, because low range and everything else. But it looks like he would be pretty amazing melee fighter if you kite him right. And there is also weapon strength with Violent Delights, the same as on Durthu, and I will be making separate video for Durthu, Amber and everything else that surfaced during this week. but let's go back to it. As you can see from the previous screenshot, the weapon strength is 545 and with violent delights is 594, so it is substantial bonus, and it can grow probably all the way up to 30% or more. I mean, I'm pretty sure it will go all the way plus to 30%, but it can go even more and more, so that would be pretty intense fighter if you kite it with everything here, except maybe for the endurance of the oak, which doesn't seem to be that powerful. Then we have skills that are actually affecting your entire army, starting with the passive ability that's giving all the units around 30-meter radius, so this is the smaller radius in the area of effect spells, plus 12% missile damage, and this is not nothing, this is actually pretty good, it's constant. So keep your archers around him and you will be raining some quite some death on the enemy. That's quite nice. And then we have reload time boosts, then we have another missile damage boost to entire Lord army, plus 15%, giving that on the entire map, and additional 12%. You can see where I'm going with this. This is very powerful boosts. And then we have another boost to ammo, which can be also useful if you are using the elves to the fullest, although I do expect they will have some ammo. And shifting winds, which is also very nice for all the people that do like micromanagement and hit and run tactics, plus 15% speed for all units in the Lord army. That is something very useful, especially if you are using lots of cav. And finally, this is improvement from the previous one. So this is improvement from the Eye of Cronus, and it's giving more. The effect range is now 45%, so this is actually quite big area now. Additional 15 meters in both ways, it would give you some additional units that will be affected by this plus 12% missile damage bonus. Then we have Call of the Woods. These are all of those abilities will be available for all the lords, for the Glade Lord and for the Ancient Treemans, basically. And those will be melee focused, and this is, as you can imagine, similar as the Eye of Cronus, plus 8 melee attack in the range of 30, pretty similar to what we have on, say, Runesmith, right? But Runesmith has 45, I believe, right? Then we have some charge bonus percentage-wise, not anything great. The armor bonus for the entire Lord army, plus 5 on the first level. That means at least plus 15 and quite possibly plus 25 on the last level. It is absolute must pick. Whatever you do, however you play, it is a must pick, because Orion can pick both of those skill trees. Every other lord has to pick one or the other. So this is very important. If you are getting like a Treeman or Glade Lord, he has to pick either the buffs for the range units, and then those skills are blocked, or the other way around. With Orion you can pick both, and this is a very powerful skill indeed. The Shield of the Forest is a must pick in my opinion. Then we have another must pick if you are using melee armies. Look at that. Plus 10 melee attack and defense on the first level of the Forest Roar. That's a first level. That's amazing. That's absolutely drastic. And, well, those guys don't have that much melee units, but if you are actually using like an Ancient Treeman, if you are actually playing Durthu, you can go to the Shield of the Forest and the Forest Roar, and those guys will be pretty powerful indeed. And the Swinging Branches, another very powerful boost, 5% to the weapon strength for all melee units, and yet again we have 3 levels here, so potentially very big, and ending with expanding the area of effect for these from the Call of the Woods, from the Call of the Wood to the whole of the forest, 45 meters around the Lord. Then we have ever-reaching tendrils, 10% movement. This is pretty much the same as with any other lord, so we'll have some reduction in the vampire and chaos, and then we have some replenishment, and yeah, that's pretty much it. But what is very important is that here we have at the very far end, we have some additional experience for units, and this is very nice. But what is very important is that the snapping branches, this is lightning strike, right? You have to have 5 skill points in previous group, not 4, 5. And if that also swings in this place, you have to invest 1, 6, 7, 12, 13 points in this tree to get into the lightning strike. So this guy is not likely to be lightning striking, because if you are going this way, you are taking away all those other buffs that are very powerful and not really that. I wouldn't go into this path, really. That would be my point. It would actually make your army significantly weaker. And I do understand that lightning strike is very powerful indeed, but you can use 2 armies side by side, and then it's pretty much then it's not useful. And with all those buffs, you will be basically rolling ball of death. Then we have another unit that is first quest item that you can get, and this is Horn of the Wild Hunt, and while plus 3 melee defense and plus leadership for the Lord's army doesn't look that great, this is actually giving 29 seconds map-wide boost, 24% and 36% speed and charge bonus respectively. So this is quite good actually. This is quite useful. If you have it, you can make your cavalry units traverse this no man's land very quickly, hit the enemy with amazing charge bonus and retreat. And the shifting winds, which is increasing the speed units even more, and the king and the king, this one, the king of the forest, I believe this is called, with speed plus 8% for all Elven units, that would make your cavalry move really fast, and their charge would be pretty devastating. So another sneak peek I've managed to take is the stats for the Eternal Guards. So those guys are forest stalkers, so they can hide but only in woods. They are anti-large and they have charge defense versus large foes, pretty much as we expected. The health is on the low side, as expected, only 100 men, but they do have 60 armor. That is not very tabletop wise. They have 60 armor, which is quite impressive, and that might be some of the bonuses. As you can see, there is some green here, so those guys are already buffed, but it seems they are pretty good without those buffs. Really, because we've seen those skills, and there was nothing significant when it comes to those buffs on the Lord himself. Some of the lords, those buffs might be from the Waystalker, but the melee and defense attacks buffs, I don't know where they are coming from, probably from some event, but all those things aside, Eternal Guards seem to be pretty good unit, and we are only paying for them 103 upkeep. So that's not great. Also, you can see the units that are actually, you have to spend amber on them here. Those little icons. So these are Trikin, I believe. And mind you, the Dryads that are here do not require you to take amber. Only elite units you have to take amber. So yeah, like Forest Dragon for example. And what else? Those guns actually are War Dancers. Either way, Eternal Guards seem to be pretty decent infantry, with high leadership, decent armor, and high melee attack and defense, although not that many in numbers and health, unfortunately. this is a different perspective on the Oak of Ages. I just wanted to show you with all the lands around the Oak of Ages. So yeah. Then let's go further. The Oak of Ages himself, this is, if you click it, this one is rank 2, and you can see what is actually giving us right here. So right now the level 2 Oak of Ages is giving us +3 public order, this is faction wide, -10% for all units, upkeep for all units, some reduction in Vampire Corruption and Chaos Corruption for all regions, and unit experience, and Lord Recruit rank units. So this is pretty substantial bonus, and as you can see, this is level 2, level 3 costs 5 Amber, level 4 13, and level 5 25. So those two probably costed 1 and 2, or maybe 1 and 3, but not much more. For a very cheap cost of Amber, you can get pretty nice buffs. So yeah, I would totally go to those instead of investing them into units, for example. I would totally go to the third level of the Oak of Ages before I will do anything else. Maybe into some of the special technologies, and I will talk about technologies shortly. Also, as you can see, this actually provides substantial garrison with 5 Wild Rangers, 6 Dryads and 1 Freeman. And this is the same, shows you the same bonuses that it gives. And if you actually go to the level 3, so this is a change. You are getting additional garrison, and this one is really substantial. So previous one was upkeep was -10 and +1 experience. Here I have +3 experience for Lords, so one more. Additional +25% to income, -15% for upkeep. So this is quite substantial bonuses, like I said. And enables you to join Confederacy demand. So basically you can demand Confederacy, and you can get, for example, Durthu to join you only if you will get to the Oak of Ages level 3. So yeah. Also, it's worth noting, this guy will be going to the 0. It's easy to go to the negative Amber, and if you do, you will have public order and replenishment problems. So be watchful of that. Yeah, so Amber details right now, let's go into Amber. His settlements is giving him +15 and his allied settlements +5. Pending is -5, this is Oak of Ages. And we have some spent on settlements, some spent on tech, and some spent on units. We've seen all 3 of those units, right? And I will show you the techs. And I will show you also some of the settlements, because there are some nice buildings that you can build. And you can actually, now let's go to that when we get to that. Firstly, let's see how the Amber you can get from the settlements. And it was noted that the amount of Amber you are getting is based on the level of the settlement. It was stated somewhere, but I believe this is not true. I believe you are getting 2 Amber from the settlement that is capital of the region, and 1 Amber if it's not, as you can see here. And this is basically Amber from the ally Clan Angrund. This is another 3-man that is right here, and he's using Clan Angrund to jump into Zvorax. As you can see, we have all the stances here. That's what I wanted to show you. Here we have your normal, you have Force March, which is very useful indeed. Because for example for Beastmen you don't have it, and they are missing it. You do have ambush, you do have raiding, you do have camp, and you do have stance use world routes. And this is pretty much use underway, use beastman path. This is all the same. You cannot attack, you are losing some. If you are being interrupted, you will be wiped white out. This is pretty much the same as in every other race and starting to get boring, quite frankly, but that's just me. Here we have a Branchwraith, and let's go into the Branchwraith in more details, because heroes here seem to be very interesting and powerful indeed. More like with the Beastmen and less like with any other faction. So, as you can see, we have a very short list of skills, but starting we have here very short skills, very short tree of skills, branch of skills actually, that are boosting the fighting ability of the Branchwraith. And as you can see, this is including armor 30, right? Already boost to the armor and boost to the both attack and defense, and boost to the damage, making the Branchwraith very powerful fighter if you go into all of those, without investing that many points actually, because those skills are more powerful than any other I've seen so far. And the Branchwraith also have access to the Lore of Shadow, and we will look into that. But also, as you can see, this is the skill. These are the skills that were also available on Orion, and is giving you +8 melee attack for all units in the range of 30 meters and then 45. So quite powerful, if you agree with me. And this is spells from the Lore of Shadow. So we have Melkoth Mystifying Miasma, which is direct damage spells that is decreasing the speed of the enemy, so very useful against cavalry units, running away units, and so on and so forth. And you can only, choose a single unit for this one. Then we have the Pembral Pendulum, which is a wind spell, so breath spell basically. And this is quite costly. Like the previous one is only 5 direct damage, and this one is 13. But it's supposed to have large area of effect and possibly a nice range actually, 200. So might be quite useful. The wind spells are very not commonly used, but they are very powerful if you know how to use them. And then we have the Withering, which is the Hex, decreasing an armor leadership. I don't think this is that powerful, probably overcasting it is. Awakening of the Wood, which is Explosion, only 6 cost, mind you. And this is large area of explosion and decreasing the speed of the units very extensively. So this speed decrease might be actually the way you use it. This might be quite powerful if you use that correctly. We weren't able to see the other spells, but the Shield of Thorns seems like something that will boost your armor or actually deal damage to anything that is being attacked. So we'll have to wait for that. Now we have options. If we are taking the settlements, we have 2 options. Either we raise it for lots of money, or we will be seeding it. And seeding it will be quite replenishing for our guys, which is a bit weird because, we are getting amber only from that. Raising, giving us lots of money, but no amber. And those settlements, we finally know how those Asari lookouts works in the real game. This will be level 1 settlements. Yep, level 1, you cannot get anything more. They are giving us public order +6. So if you are playing on legendary, you would have to get special techs to be able to basically survive on that public order. And you have a choice of very few settlements. So firstly, because there was a marble here, we have a stone cutlery with some income generated and some marble, and the trade would be a must for those guys because but the income generated is very small, as you can see, only 50, and you cannot upgrade it. Then we have a Waystone, which is increasing replenishment rate by crazy amount, and also giving us some garrison, some decent garrison actually, with the Hawk Riders and Deepwood Scouts. So yeah, and the Trikin, these are all very powerful units and can be used effectively. This is the only garrison army that I think I might be able to use effectively if I micromanage it correctly against medium-sized army. Because normal garrison like, few goblins and few orc boys, not going to happen. But with Deepwood Scouts that can shoot in 360 degrees and while running, and the Trikin and Hawk Riders, that might actually be doable. Then we have Ward Route Pathway, and this is decreasing your recruitment cost and providing some garrison. This is basically so you would be able to recruit units not in your main area, not in the Athel Loren, but outside of Athel Loren, because you will still have global recruitment options. Then we have Sacrificial Grounds. Sacrificial Grounds are actually very, very powerful. As you can see, you are getting +5 unit experience per turn for all the forces, and you are getting +1% damage for all forces, and weapon strength +1% for all forces. If you build lots of those, that might be very, very powerful indeed. The bigger you will be, the stronger those will be. And finally we have Foraging Grooves, which will give you growth faction-wise, mind you, faction-wide, and some income from all the buildings +2% also faction-wide. So those will stack, and those can build up to the very nice economy or very strong army. Then we have technologies, and technologies will be the delight of the Wood Elf campaign. What you are seeing right now is the Outer Ring technologies. Outer Ring technologies cost you Amber, and you can see that already. The Inner Ring just costs you time. Or you need to have a special building, as can be seen here. And the Outer Ring technologies are very powerful indeed. For spending some Amber, you can get diplomatic relations with undead +30, but more importantly, income from rising settlements +30% and income from post-battle loot +30%. And this might be quite substantial money here. Here we have some of the split-second screenshots that I've managed to see to basically capture to show you what are the other techs that we can get. So the ambush chances and ambush defense chance +20%. Not really what I would pick firstly, but yeah, it's useful. And Isha the Mother, for example, also you would have to pay some Amber for it, but it increases the diplomatic relations with the Empire and gives you growth +50 to all provinces. So +50 growth to all provinces is absolutely amazing, and would be also my pick. Or here you have Public Order +3 for all provinces and another diplomatic relations with undead buff +40. And this would allow you to make, alliance with the undead, which would allow you to get more Amber, which would allow you to get more of those techs. And as you can see, if you have Amber, this tech only takes 1 turn to develop. So if you are very aggressive, you can get those buffs very, very quickly indeed. And if you are getting those buffs, you can get better diplomatic relations and get even more buffs. Then we have something less interesting like magic item drop chance, diplomatic relations with Bretonnian Kingdom, and magic resistance for lore units. This is without spending Amber, and this is very powerful indeed, and I do want to have it. Finally we have the Lord of Wisdom, which is basically also you don't have to spend any Amber on it, and it's giving you Hero and Lord units +2 ranks, which is very nice indeed. And the map hub, sorry, I'm probably butchering those names, Matlan, Lord of the Deeps, and it's giving you diplomatic relations with all the southern lands, and also Tila, Stalia, Border Princes, but also Norscan tribes. And is giving you income from ports +400%. +400. That means instead of 100 from each port, you will be getting 400. Or 500 even, because that's plus 400%, right? So that is quite extensive boost. So yeah, as you can see, income from your basic port, and if you capture those settlements, port settlements, you won't be able to build any other building. Not only increase your trade tariffs by 5%, so you can trade even better, but you're also getting this income generated plus 100%. Yeah, and if you put that bonus into it, that would be very substantial gold amount. Finally, this is we are back in the King's Glade, and as you can see, we have 9 slots available here. Some of those slots will be opened by upgrading the main building. Some will be by spending amber, and I guess that would be quite useful. So yeah, let's go into so many buildings. Let's go quickly to see here. Here it seems that we have some your normal melee units, and then we have some range units. I cannot see those icons clearly. This is cavalry units, including the Sisters of the Thorn. This would be your 3 units. Here I have a dragon. Here I have a Warhawk Riders and the Eagle, I guess. Those are Spell Singers. This will be buffs for the range units probably, or the ability to get some of those range units. Most of the spells actually, sorry, not spells but buildings. For the most of the units you will have to actually get 2 different buildings or more, so you know, this 10 buildings is not that much. We also have 2 additional chains of buildings that are not available anywhere else, and these are temples and Athel Loren. Temples, as you can see, you will be able to unlock some technologies, but will also give you Wind of Magic Power Reserve plus 10%. And if you've been playing with the Lord of the Beast before, you know that this is very useful indeed. Not plus 10% but plus 10. So yeah, for all the forces, that's pretty powerful. And the other one will give you for all characters plus 5% movement range. So, and again, amazing. And unlock a technology, one of the technologies. Also, as you can see, all the Athel Loren specific buildings will cost you 2 amber. And here there is one of the most important buildings already unlocked. So first, let's see. We have Wondarce's Fierce Hall, and this will give you the Trickster Mask for the Elven Council position, and also plus 2 experience for the War Dancers. Starlight Force, which will give you the Starlight Craftsman and construction cost decrease. Then we have Wild Waystones, which will be the Warden of the Wildwood and research rate plus 10% faction wide, very useful. And finally we have the Wild Health, which is the most important because it will actually unlock the Herald of the Hunt, which I already talked about in my video about the Elven Council. So this is the most important one, and you should unlock it as soon as possible. Not only it gives minus recruitment plus 5% for all armies, this is actually mild, but the person who will take this position will be very powerful general and will give quite substantial buffs to the movement. Here I have another sneak peek into the Eternal Gods. I already showed you some stats, but now you can see those stats without the buffs. So the armor is actually 40, the speed is 35, which is quite substantial. I cannot make out the leadership, but attack 26 and defense of 43 is nothing special, but the weapon strength for those guys, Eternal Guards with shields, are 24 armor piercing and anti-large, and that is quite interesting. But you have to get Asari Forge, so this one, this building to build those. And then we have war dancers with spears, which you will have to get another level of the Ansari Forge. And as you can see, those guys have quite substantial. They also have charge defense versus large foes, and they do have amazing damage, and there is 80 of them, so exactly as I expected. The numbers are exactly as I expected. The upkeep is quite substantial. By the skills, the stats on this thing is amazing, although the health is on the low side, but this is what you would expect from the war dancers. Then we have some stats on the Glade Riders. Those guys do have Vanguard deployment, their health is on the low side as expected. They have very low armor, but they do have, look at that, they have both poison and magic. So possibly, maybe you can combine the two. That means, for example, maybe it will also work for Skarsnik and the goblins. If you will unlock all the army poison attacks, the Thunder Armor Sundering will not disappear, but that's not exactly what I want to concentrate right now. Those guys have a range of 140 for the unit that is on horse. Quite substantial. Normal missile damage, 24 ammo, so quite big, and there is 60 of them. And they do have decent stats. They have decent charge bonus, they have decent weapon strength, they have decent melee attack and melee defense. So they are actually quite good, I would say. Then we have a sneak peek into the offices. As you can see, this is the sacking settlement bonus that I showed you already for the Orion, who is obviously the king of the wood. And this is the protector of the oak, but we already seen those in the section on the wiki about the Elven Council, obviously. So yeah. However, enemy hero action success chance minus 50% is quite substantial, and to the entire local province, not only for your army. Here we have unit experience gain per turn plus 80. That's actually very, very powerful. Income from trade is okay, aura size is okay, but unit experience plus 80 is something to consider. And then we have Herald of the Wild Hunt, as I mentioned before. So this guy can be chosen to go on the Wild Hunt. He has the upkeep and recruitment cost minus 10%, which is not that great, but he has a campaign movement range plus 20%, and this goes even higher during the Wild Hunt. And you cannot put 3 men on this task. You can only get your Elven people on the council. Then let's have a look at the Wildwood Rangers. So we've seen Eternal Guards. Now the Wildwood Rangers have an armor of 40, I guess, because 20 is from some kind of a buff or technology. Speed, melee attack and melee defense, quite nice, but they also have weapon strength of 54 and anti-large, decent charge bonus, and there is 100 of them, and they have health of 7100. And this is the biggest I've seen for the Elven unit, so those guys are pretty scary, and they should, and they really should. So those guys should be a bulk of your force if you either the ones with the spear, so those guys should be the bulk of your force if you are playing Orion. Then we have skills for the Waystalker and stats for the Waystalkers, and this is actually very, very important. Now, he has an armor of 40 only, leadership is, decent, speed is 67 buffed, but he is very, very fast. He has very good melee attack and defense. He is average in strength. He has decent charge bonus, but he will lose to the other heroes. He has 50 ammo. 50. He has a range of 160, and he has a missile damage of 475. That's a 475 75. He basically is by far the best range hero so far, and he is overpowered. Like, he's really overpowered. With the health of this guy, I mean 5400, and he also have all those skills, so we can buff him even more with this. And he also has this magic missile ability, which is not using winds of magic, but is also causing armor piercing damage on 350 range. 350 range every 19 seconds. Okay, that's pretty crazy. The Waystalker is very powerful, and he also has buffs, the Eye of Kronos buffs, to your army. So you don't have to take the Lord with these skills, you can get this guy with the skills and it will work. Very extremely powerful hero, and I would be scared to. I don't know how I will deal with those guys in the multiplayer. I mean, it would have to be priority to get those guys, and if I won't spot one, and I'm pretty sure I won't spot one, because those guys have stalking and such, that I would be pretty dead. I would be pretty dead pretty soon. That would be a huge problem. And also we have some skills for the 3-man, and as I showed you before, if you are contemplating of choosing the range buffing for the units, this one will be locked out, and you won't be able to take those. But except for that, everything is pretty much the same as before. Although this guy do have access to some nice spells. So yeah, what else? We have a Flesh to Stone actually here, an augment that's working on an ally. So I would assume these are light spells. And plus 30 armor for this army is pretty powerful indeed. And for the Lord, this guy has a very decent armor, very powerful in health. 8000 health is twice of other Lords. Not much damage, but armor piercing damage, and pretty bad stats. Melee attack and defense are pretty bad. But he can cast spells and he can make his units plus 30 armor, and I would assume if you overcast it, it will actually go to some area of effect. So that would be great. The other thing that they showed us is that you can not only play Wood Elves but also Agvelon with the Durthu as the leader. So we'll have Council of Gathering of Ancients instead of Council of Elves. And what else? Amber is pretty much the same, Woodroot is pretty much the same, and Forest Spirits you will have Forest Spirits, and the Durthu himself, Mighty 3-man, Caster of the Lord of the Beast, which is different from the other 3-men as we've seen so far, and he has Lamentation of Despair ability, which we haven't seen so far. Branchwraith, all units are immune to attrition, plus 10 attack during the forest battles. That's very nice indeed. We all knew that, and this is pretty interesting starting units because he's starting with some Elven Cav, but okay, fine, I will use them effectively. Yeah, and this is pretty much it what we've learned from this stream. I mean, this video. I hope you like it. I did find it very amusing. So I hope you like it. If you did, press like, comment if you will, and see my other videos. I do DLC analysis and speculation videos, mechanics videos for Total War series, but also Let's Plays for Total War series and other games. Thank you for watching, and see you later.